During 2001 and 2010, over 8.2 million people were incarcerated for having what many people deem a miracle plant. You may know it by chronic, reefer, grass, green, weed, marijuana, or by its scientific name, cannabis. Cannabis is a plant that is indigenous to Central Asia but is now grown worldwide. Cannabis has over 70 different cannabinoids, two of which are often seen in mainstream media. The first is tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, and the second is cannabidiol, CBD. THC is known for its psychoactive side effects and is the reason cannabis users feel the common state of euphoria, increased appetite, lethargy, and paranoia associated with cannabis. The U.S. government deemed cannabis a drug that gave users bloodlust and superhuman strength and made up the name marijuana to scare ordinary citizens away from cannabis consumption. Even though the government knew cannabis did no such thing, cannabis has had no reported overdoses and has even been proven to help with most medical conditions such as PTSD, migraines, and epilepsy. Cannabis has been federally outlawed since 1947. However, many people now believe cannabis should be federally legal for recreational consumption in those over the age of 21. To start, cannabis has been tried and true in helping with both medical conditions and symptom management. There's a lot of evidence that supports the fact that cannabis is an effective treatment for nausea and vomiting associated with cancer, chemotherapy, anorexia and cachexia, and HIV and AIDS, chronic, especially neuropathic pain, spasticity and multiple sclerosis, and spinal cord injuries, as well as a plethora of other conditions. Given that it can treat such a wide variety of conditions as well as help tremendously with general pain management, it would be beneficial for almost all patients if their treatment was available over the counter similar to Advil. However, Advil and most other man-made medications have been proven to cause ulcers, kidney and liver damage, and many other harmful side effects, whereas one of cannabis's most severe side effects is the case of the munchies. Well, the claim that cannabis consumption stunts brain growth has validity. It is only one part of a super complex issue, and as such, it is important that we do not overlook that these negative effects are only noticeable in heavy users or users who started at a young age, and cannabis has more beneficial properties than harmful properties. For example, in a study done by Tapia Scholar and Sagnig Bahadashari, it was discovered that the effects varied widely depending on the type and amount that the users consumed, as well as what age the user started. However, most still only suffered acute impairments. The study showed that younger users saw more harsh results than users who started later, and this is due to the fact that cannabis can damage the brain and hinder proper growth. This is why it's important to wait until at least 21 years of age, which is generally when most brain growth stops, before being able to consume cannabis recreationally. The second is the sale of cannabis can bring in millions of tax revenue. For example, one of the first states to legalize recreational cannabis is Colorado. Since the month after cannabis was legalized, January of 2014, until 2019, Colorado alone has brought in over $1.1 billion in tax revenue. This means that if cannabis was legalized on a federal level using the same tax rates as Colorado has been using, the U.S. will bring in over $13 billion in taxes a year on cannabis alone. This is money we could put towards helping underrepresented communities or paying off our national debt. These $13 billion could also be put towards constructing America's renewable energy grid. If we use just a few years of the taxes from cannabis to build hydro dams, wind farms, solar farms, and other renewable energies, we could become the world's leader in green energy, produce less pollution, and it would allow us to cut down on harmful fossil fuels and oil consumption from foreign countries. Also, by building these new sustainable energy sources with the cannabis tax revenue, it allows the cannabis growers to replace the massive amounts of energy they may use when cultivating their crops, especially indoors. In addition to increased tax revenue, legalization also allows us to regulate and control legal cannabis consumed. With the rise of potential cutting ingredients such as fentanyl that could seriously harm or even kill those in contact, lawmakers and law enforcement must keep a watchful eye on the situation. By legalizing cannabis, we can regulate what is used to grow commercial cannabis, what it is shipped in, what fertilizers are used, and so forth. This will not only keep our citizens and law enforcement safe, it will also cut down on the presence of the black market in our country. Since criminals are known for breaking the law, and it's a reasonable claim that there could still be unregulated sellers even after legalization, while this is a problem, there's really no solution, as they are what their name says, unregulated. However, law-abiding citizens generally abide by the law and would rather spend a few extra dollars than be caught with an illegal substance again. Given that half of all drug arrests are related to cannabis, it is reasonable to conclude that half of all drug users use cannabis. Using this logic, legalization will severely diminish the black market presence as well as drug-related gang violence. In conclusion, cannabis should be legal for recreational consumption in all 50 states, but only for people over the age of 21 because cannabis is beneficial to your health unlike any other recreational mind-altering substance. The studies have shown that cannabis is helpful in many medical conditions as well as pain management. Cannabis is an excellent source for increased tax revenue, and legalization allows us to protect our citizens. Unlike alcohol, which causes severe liver damage, and cigarettes, which is one of the leading causes of death in America because of its role in the formation of lung cancer, cannabis is beneficial. Cannabis has no harmful side effects on one's lungs, and according to one source, may even improve lung capacity. It helps in managing chronic pain, glaucoma, epilepsy, muscle spasms, and can even stop some forms of cancer. All in all, how readily accessible this miracle drug is and how cannabis is regulated is up to the American citizen and our democratic system, so this may take a while, but the results will be well worth the wait.